All right, I'm going to talk about one of the biggest things in my life and the biggest thing in Hofstra society. And that's something that I've dealt with all the time, and it's crime. I've dealt with every crime imaginable. Attempted murder, I've been stabbed, I've been assaulted, I've been robbed, I've been threatened. I've had property vandalized, I've been cheated, I've been discriminated against at a public community college which receives federal funding. I've had people's dogs attack me. Every type of law imaginable has been broken against me, Um, and this is in multiple states, multiple communities, multiple people. I've dealt with multiple police departments, dealt with the Department of Justice, dealt with complaining on all different levels, complaints to private school boards and different people, and it's generally the same experience with remarkable consistency. The first thing that is really shocking is that these people are mentally retarded or socio-pathic. There's something mentally wrong with people who will just burn their neighbor's house down just to see what it feels like. And that's the way the people are. I mean, they'll rob their own grandma and go buy meth with it. I mean, these are the kind of people that I commonly deal with. And even some of these people wear suit and ties, like people that discriminate against you for no reason. You're just going to school, you're paying your fees, and they won't let you take a class because they hate white males and things like that. I've been bit by a dog and all kinds of crimes. That's the first shock, is like, what the heck is wrong with these people? I mean, these people need to be put away. But that's not even the big thing, because 90% of people are generally law-abiding and generally considerate of others. Most of the crime that I've witnessed, and I'm basically an expert on crime. I've dealt with it my whole life. I've been a victim of crime so much that I've become really good at understanding it. And I've even started reading a lot of books on psychology to understand this outrageous behavior that I commonly deal with. Why are people so irrational and psychotic and things like that, and trying to get a grasp of it? And I feel like I'm almost qualified to go work for the FBI or something, because I have such a knowledge where I can spot people now. I've dealt with so many lowlifes and drug addicts and criminals that I can meet someone, and within maybe 10-15 minutes of dealing with them, I can usually tell what kind of person they are, if they're on drugs or if they're thieves or things like that. There's little signs where you can tell, because small behavior leads to larger behavior. If somebody tells little lies, they usually tell larger lies, things like that. But the main thing is that there's these people that are like one-man crime sprees. I frequently find these people that they commit crimes every day. I meet someone who has beat the crap out of his ex-girlfriend, has assaulted his neighbor, pushed him down the steps, hospitalized him, has threatened 20 different people, has gotten in a number of fights, even gotten his ass kicked occasionally, and has multiple people complaining to the police department about him. Even, people have pictures and photos of being beat up, have records of going to the hospital where this guy's assaulted them. He's been doing this for years, never once gone to jail, never once, nothing ever happens. Maybe the police go and talk to him and he denies it, and the police are like, okay. And usually when you report one of these persons, say if I say, well, this guy, he just threatened me for no reason. And then the cops say, oh, he sounds like a real jerk, we'll go talk to him. Cops show up at his door, he says, well, I didn't threaten that guy was a jerk to me, and he's just out to get me. You see, everybody's out to get me, and it's a big conspiracy. And the police believe this story, which if they have any training in psychology and sociopathy, they should understand, this is what every criminal says. I mean, but then they'll come back to me and be like, well, we know what you're doing. Like, I'm not doing anything, if, you're free to search me or whatever, man. I mean, I'm just reporting this guy threatened me, and he has a long history of threatening people, and here's photos of someone he's beat up, and here's testimony, and they don't do anything about it. Until finally someone gets hospitalized enough where maybe the doctor reports it and there's an arrest made, or the person makes a mistake of assaulting somebody who has money, and then the person has money to hire a lawyer or something, and he doesn't even need to hire one because the cops will immediately prosecute the person. And that's the way it is when you deal with trailer parks and ghettos and low-income areas, is that The cops don't care. They just allow crime to run rampant. But it's the same people committing 90% of the crime. It's one person doing almost all the crime. Like the same person is breaking into everyone's house and robbing them. And he's broken into 100 different houses. And they even have video footage or whatever, and the cops will ignore any amount of evidence. Fingerprints, they won't even fingerprint. And that's where the real problem lies, is like, why are the police departments so corrupt? I mean, and dealing with them mainly, I don't think they set out to be corrupt. They're just lazy. They just, a lot of them, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to fill out the paperwork. They don't want to deal with arresting somebody. But then again, they'll let murderers go loose and vandalism and assaults. They'll arrest somebody for having a joint because it's easy and convenient. So, and even dealing with the Department of Justice, reporting discrimination, things like that, they don't care if the victim's white or if the victim's a male. They don't care. And it's shocking. I never in a million years would have thought that this is the way society is, that there's so many criminals out there and that crime is so commonplace. I mean, you have to live in a really nice area and have money to be free from just daily crime, which is why I guess people avoid these areas and try to make a lot of money and live somewhere nice. But even dealing with like a community college and the Department of Justice, they just won't do their job. Dealing with credit cards, I pay my credit card bill well in advance, and they'll just lie and say I paid it late and charge me all kinds of fees. I have to deal with crime everywhere, and I deal with fraud all the time, and I can't seem to wrap my head around it fully. But just to get to the point, I have had to adjust my worldview and come to expect crime. And I, just like the guy who had his sicked his dogs on me for no reason, and his dogs attacked me multiple times, and I said, look, according to the law, if your dog bites me, you're liable for my hospital bill. You're liable for damages. They're going to put a lien on your trailer. I'm going to end up owning the trailer you live in. And the guy's like, you're threatening me? I don't like that when you say you want to get my trailer. I don't want to get your trailer, man. I'm not threatening you. I'm trying to tell you that actions have consequences, that this is the law, that what you're doing is stupid. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit me. There's no reason for it. I'm continually trying to explain to you, just please keep your dog on a leash. And then I go to the animal control and say, this dog's bit me. According to the law, you're supposed to do something about it. And animal control says, first of all, they say, well, this guy sounds like a real jerk. We're going to go talk to him. And after they talk to him, they say, well, you're the jerk. He told us all about you, and we're not going to do anything. It's always the same story. All these criminals always do this. And I tell the police, don't you think it's weird that this same guy has had like 20 complaints about him sicking his dogs and other people, and all these 20 different people are out to get him? Or this one guy assaulted 20 different people, and there's even hospital records and photographs and witnesses, but all 20 of these people are just out to get this guy, and you believe him? That's what I don't understand about dealing with animal control and police departments. I guess these sociopaths and criminals are superficially charming, and these people, I don't know, these people are too stupid to understand. But I'm like, but regardless of whether you think I'm a jerk or not, or this guy thinks that I'm out to get him, or that I did something wrong, the fact of the law is I can prove that he's doing something wrong. His dog has attacked me, it has been aggressive, and it needs to be on a leash. No matter what story he makes up, it doesn't change the fundamental facts there. But you can't talk to these people who are actually, I don't know, I've heard enough from you. That's the way they act. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to establish a case like where I have all the evidence, I've made everyone aware of what's going on, and when the dog bites me, it's going to gnaw my leg off, and I'm going to sue the animal control for $1 million. I'm going to sue the officer personally for hospital bills. I'm going to sue the owner of the dog. I'm going to charge them with proximal assault, criminal negligence and things like that. And if the police department doesn't want to cooperate in arresting people on these charges, I'm going to contact the FBI and these corrupt police officers. And if the FBI doesn't want to do anything, don't want to do their job, I'm going to file a lawsuit and then drag them through court. I mean, I have to go to two extremes just to not be attacked by a dog when I walk down the street, or when I'm on my own property. The dog's trespassing on my property and attacking me. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's so out of control. And I deal with people, I do business with people, work for people, and half of them try to rip me off. They don't pay me what they owe me on my paycheck, or, there's all, all kinds of threats and assaults and con games and vandalism and drug use, and it's never anything is done about it. And my goal is just to deal with sane and rational people. Now the reason is, when these people are getting in fist fights with their husbands and wives and stabbing their neighbors and burning their own house down and sniffing glue and allowing their dog to assault other people, and when they're working a professional job like in a college and they're not following the rules that the college itself has set, or national laws, federal laws, or when you're dealing with, animal control officers that are not following the state statutes, not following the basic procedures for doing their job correctly, and you're dealing with all these idiots who cannot function on a simple level, they're inferior, they're losers. Any well-organized group that just follows simple rules and acts rational is going to outcompete those people. Those people will work for us, okay? Those people will live in nicer houses than they do, will live in nicer neighborhoods, will have to deal with less crime, less threats, will have more money than them, will have more women than them. It will be superior to them in every way, because this is absolutely stupid. It is absolutely criminal. It's absolutely retarded. It's absolutely inferior. There's no argument about it. I mean, if you actually think that somebody threatening and assaulting people for no reason and the police allowing him to get away with it is really that there's nothing wrong with that, then you and me don't need to be in the same community. I don't want to be in the same community with these people. I really hate living in the same nation or the same state. And I'm really looking at where I can go to get away from this kind of stuff. I've dealt with even in middle class communities and things like that. I mean, I've dealt with it with $1 million corporations and companies and banks and con games, fraud, lies, not following basic procedures correctly, and lack of oversight. And it's just generally ridiculous. And it seems so crazy, like it's so simple to do better than these people. It's so simple to be superior. I guess the people have bred themselves to the intelligence of an ape, and what we're competing with is not really very competitive. But the problem is, as an individual, if I live among these people, I have to suffer from the incompetence and the crime. My house is getting burned down. I'm getting assaulted. I'm getting threatened. I deal with incompetent police. I deal with incompetent federal agents. I deal with incompetent oversight. I deal with mismanaged schools and incompetent schools that commit crimes. But when I have my own group of people and we just follow basic rules and laws, then we vastly rise above all these losers and we're able to outcompete them. For example, just if you run a business and you have a network of other trustworthy businesses to deal with, you're going to make a far larger profit and accomplish a lot more than all these businesses that are lying and cheating and stealing and breaking their own contracts and not following basic rules and regulations and dealing with all these corrupt agents and everything that's supposed to be regulating them but aren't. It's just so much simpler just to follow basic rules and work to the benefit of everyone, because that's a win-win situation. What these people do, it's a lose-lose situation, and I even break it down to them. I'm always having this conversation with these people. I mean, my own dad acts socio-pathic like a lot of these losers, and I say, your behavior, it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't benefit me. I mean, you should just stop doing it. And here I break down X, Y, and Z, why it doesn't make any sense. It should be obvious, but I mean, in case you don't get it. And he still continues to do the same stuff over and over again. It's just some kind of mental disease. And the same thing with somebody who keeps sicking his dog on me. I'm like, how hard would it be just to not sick your dog on me? Or keep your dog on a chain? I mean, this is not rocket science, man, but you're liable to lose everything you have, and you're liable to even kill someone doing this, and there's just no reason for it, I mean, if this is really the way the United States is run, not just in an isolated little ghetto, but all over the place. I experience this all over the place, on the federal level, on the local level, on the state level, in multiple different states and localities and different agencies and different departments and different individuals. I'm experiencing a pattern here of outrageous behavior, crime, sociopathic behavior, and people that are functionally illiterate. Okay, if this is really what we've come to, I'm sure we can do better very easily if you can just meet very basic standards, and that's all I'm about. And I think it's important to mention that. Thank you.